Hello there, I've just come on to do a quick video on some cards I've been making recently using up scraps, which is something I've been focusing on for the last 18 months, and I still seem to have an enormous pile of them. But this was entirely from inspiration from a video I watched from Creationsceecee, who's a Canadian YouTuber. I'll put the links below. And the name of her video, I've forgotten it, but I'll put it below. It was something like creating quick and easy mixed media cards tutorial, something like that. But I'll put it below so you can see and go and have a look. I don't intend to show you the process. I've got a little bit of a clip that I'll put at the end of this section. But I'm having trouble with my audio, so I'll just put some music with that. The only reason I decided to make this was I used very different papers to Cece's papers. She had quite large pieces of beautifully coloured, vibrant watercolour papers, and when she swirled the gesso onto the pages, it picked up and transferred some of the colour. And I had to rely more on paint to give me that extra colour because I simply didn't have the pieces of paper that she had. But what I did have, things like this, for example, these couple, and there's more, but these two were made from a piece of National Geographic. Now, why on earth I ever kept it, who would know? It was hideous. A couple of years, or some time ago now, I saw using National Geographic and orange oil, and you swirl it on and it sort of alters the ink and changes the images, and they were hideous pieces, both of them, and why they got tucked away I don't know. But that's what I've used to make these, with some gesso underneath. And I'm not sure if you can pick it up because the lighting, it's night and the light's pretty bad. The gesso, as you swirl it round, actually sort of picks up some of the ink and gives it a sort of a beigey grey colour, which sounds hideous, but it was quite attractive. And then I just did a little bit of a swirl of gold over the top. So they were those. That was a little piece of really awful watercolour embossing, but they're pretty enough as a card. And these ones, which I was quite disappointed, this was a distress ink card front that I made and stenciled, and it hadn't been coated in any way, but for some reason the distress inks didn't move. Maybe I did a little, there's a little bit of the green, maybe I didn't have it wet enough, because I found you get more of the, when you gesso, if your brush is a little wet as well as the gesso, it does transfer the water, the colour a lot better. Maybe I just simply didn't have it wet enough. And these were pretty uninspiring, but I used some silver, and I don't mind them. They're not my favourite, but that piece of paper's gone now, so that's really good. These ones I really like, and this was a piece of coffee-stained copy paper that I'd heavily coffee-stained and baked, and I had cut it out ready to make it into envelopes, but it was so heavily coffee-stained in sections that it was sort of crispy and didn't work as an envelope. So I had a couple of those left from when I was playing with them, and they picked up the colour of the coffee really nicely, and it sort of got quite a nice beige tint to the gesso, and a little bit of Payne's grey. I really like that look. And the doodling I did with the brown fine liner, and that was the other thing I took from Cece's video, that I'm hopeless at doodling. I'm absolutely appalling at doodling. I can't bear it, and I think it's because I've always in the past tried to use a thicker pen, you know, a Posca pen or something like that, and I really don't like it. I found using these Tri-Plus fine liners, the stapler, I really quite like the effect, and I can doodle without wanting to throw it in the bin. There's some more of that National Geographic. That's another coffee paper. And this is the other National Geographic. This is the second page, and I did those with the Payne's grey rather than the gold, and I like both. They have got a little bit of gold just to give them a boost and a bit more texture, and I really like those. They all turned out really well, seeing as they were just such rubbishy scraps. There's more of the National Geographic paper on some white cardstock. These three are a piece of watercoloured and sprayed paper that I've used some turquoise metallic paint and some blue, as well as the gesso. They're pretty. And these last few, the last four there, 5 maybe, it was a book page that had been sprayed and in the bottom of my spray box. And so the book page has got text you can see, and a little bit of the green came up in the gessoing, and then after that dried, I simply went over with the little my little palette of paints that I'd had out on these other cards, and used what was left. And there was some metallic purple, some turquoise, some gold, some pink, some blue, and I just swirled them on regardless because I didn't think I'd really like them. And to be honest, I think they're now my favourite, the favourite outcome for the session though. I always love the blues, and these gold ones are nice. So, had lots of fun, and it's rather strange, you know. This isn't a new technique by any means. I've seen it, I've tried it even. I think we did something very similar in Cat Hand's Mixed Media Morsels, but I just didn't get it. It didn't work for me. And there was just something about Creationsceecee's video that appealed, and I think 90% of that might have been needing distraction from the fact that I was cleaning up my craft room at the time, so it was a bit of a distraction for me. So I think that might have been the biggest prompt. So I just pulled out the papers that I had. As I said, I couldn't find anything that remotely resembled her lovely coloured papers, so I just used what I found, and I really like the results. I think they were, as she said, that gets a bit addictive, and it has, and I've still got piles. I haven't showed you the doodle cards. I've been doodling. All of these ones underneath here are all pages that weren't coated in a way that I could swirl with the gesso. So they're just plain, but they're perfect for doodling, and I have been doodling that on those with these finer pens and getting some good results. So I'm working on those as well. So I just thought I'd share those with you. I've got a little bit of the process there. I'll just cut that out and tack it on to the end of this bit of the video with some music, because as I say, I'm having issues. I need a new microphone, and until I get myself sorted, I'll be a bit restricted with my videoing and conversing. So that's that. Thanks to Creationsceecee for her inspirational video, and everyone else out there that's done something similar. You know, if there weren't all these bits and pieces of videos going on all the time, and that we have access to give us some inspiration. I'd still have bulging scrap boxes, and I haven't. They're all getting quite slim, which is really, really nice. I do tend to keep too much stuff, let's face it. Okie dokie, well, thanks for watching, and I'll get back to you soon, and I might even do one of the doodling if I finally crack it enough to want to share them. These are all, by the way, going, I'm just going to put sort of half a dozen or 8 when I've done the rest into little boxes. They make wonderful note cards, gift cards, that sort of thing, and if you need a pressie for somebody, they're quite nice just to have them ready. So I like to have 2 or 3 little gift boxes of cards ready on hand, and this is going to be my next source of supply. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.